rate on child abuse is growing. Now, when we look at what's happening in school, we see that although we have a high primary school attendance, by the time you get to secondary school, you see that falling. They tend to fall into gangs, teenage pregnancies, they fall out of school, a number of reasons you begin to see that. But what is troubling is that in some communities, and there was a specific survey done that revealed that in some communities, those troubled communities, the enrollment rate is as low as 54%. That's truly troubling. Now, those who stay in school, about 66% of them have a chance to sit the exam, and of those who sit, only about nearly 40% of them actually get that required level that they need to get to. This was an interesting study that was done 2016 and 17. They looked at 25 vulnerable communities. There are about 50 or so. Some measures assess about 100. And about 82% of those youths that dropped out of school are unemployed. Right? And these are the under 20 age group. When you look nationally, that group of under 20-year-olds is about 40% nationally, but in some communities as high as 82%. And the highest age group is the girls in that age range, 14 to 19. It's important to note that the average, the national overall unemployment rate as of April was 9.7%. In fact, the latest data in July of this year, it's gone down even further. But what is troubling is that in pockets of communities and segments like the young people, we still see very high rates. When it comes to employment, a lot of those persons who drop out of school and so on are trying to hustle to have jobs. 93% of them only have primary and secondary education. So we think that when we look at this group of persons living in poverty, drop out of school and so on, there are some risk factors for poverty and criminality that we thought we would look at. The family background, generational just data about the family, single-headed household, family size, etc., home culture, environmental factors, and we've created an index to assess these, and that could give us a sense of the vulnerability or the riskiness of individuals coming from these homes. And we've devised what we call a sustainable socioeconomic intervention model. Quite simply, the idea is to address these risk factors, and if we can find those strategies to plug those holes, it will make a difference. We think it's critical that we get partnership. One foundation cannot solve this problem. This is a national problem. And so part of our visit here and our, why we're here is that we really want to forge partnerships. I'll say a little more about that. So we have 4 classes of long-term investments that we see. The first is supporting youngsters from about age 10 to 17 from primary school into high school. That's the first set of interventions. We're going to see a little video about that. The second is for those who get to the end of schooling, they have not passed exams, they're not doing well, can't get jobs and so on. We have another intervention, and this is entrepreneurship, to enable them to earn money and earn it quickly. Then we have a third set of interventions. We call these the high quality assurance programs. You'll hear about one of them, which is the REAP program from Stephen Newland. But we have a range of them that we'll roll out over time to support these 2 main interventions. And the last category is a set of charitable assistance that we will respond to from time to time based on how they fit in the long-term agenda. We have a theory of change, and we've given you a little handout, so I won't go through that. It's there. We can read up about it, taking you through the key inputs, the main activities, the outputs, and so on, how we intend to break and contribute to breaking this cycle of poverty and crime. So we're piloting this model in one community. We wanted to start fairly small, so we said, let's pick a community. Mountain View, for many reasons, we decided to start there. And I'll just take you quickly through the approach. let me back up. I'll end with the schooling program and I'll start with the entrepreneurship program. Because this one, you'll see a video on it later on. But it's 2 phases. The first phase is a very intensive training, mentorship, and street vending of the LASCO products to get cash in their hands very quickly. And again, the video will explain more in detail. And the second phase, we give them a longer-term intervention. We know that most businesses fail after about 3 years. When you're at risk, the probability of failure is even higher. So we feel that we have to support them for a little more than 3 years, up to 10 years if necessary. And we'll register them, help them to plan their businesses, finance it, market it, etc. So as I said, you'll come back in the interest of time. I'll show you a video that will give you a better feel for it. But this piloting of the schooling program, I'll say a little more, and I'll end quickly. I'm sure I'm going to hear I'm running out of time. We're going to target Clancarty High School. We're working with 9 feeder schools. Anybody recognize those schools? Anybody went to those schools? Let me see a quick show of hands. No? All right. We'd love to get some support for those schools. And we're going to do some untargeted support in those schools, and it will largely evolve around the REAP intervention. And we'll do things like working with the parents, parenting training, etc., food support, and some of the quality assurance programs in those primary schools. These are the numbers, just to give you an idea. There are about 9,000 kids in those 9 schools. Particularly in Clancarty, there are about 1,300, but in the grade 7 where we'll focus is about 250, and there are about 20,000 persons in the Mountain View area. With respect to the targeting support, and this is a key one now, because here we're going to use that risk rating instrument that I mentioned earlier, identify those kids that are most vulnerable and most likely to end up in a life of crime, give them direct intervention, financial, nutritional, professionals, and mentorship support. And we have already begun getting what we call basic scholarships. And these, as you will see on a pledge form that you have in front of you, you will cover things like fees, books, basic clothing, and so on, just to keep them in school in those areas. But we want to provide additional support, mainly professional support, because we saw the data that says so much of our kids are exposed to violence, and many of them are psychologically impacted. So we want to have the professional psychosocial type interventions, food, extra lessons, etc., and that we estimate is going to range somewhere from $3,500 to $5,000 per child per year. Trying to fix a very difficult problem, remember? All right. Parental support, etc., that's the targeted support. Those are the numbers we're looking at. Very limited targeted support in year 1 because we're still piloting, and by year 2, we go straight into the specific interventions for about 10 to 15 kids. I want to end on the partnerships, very key. We are so, so grateful for the work of the Jamaica Diaspora Education Task Force. All of you who are part of this, thank you so much. You've been really, really very supportive of our efforts. Thank the partners for Youth Foundation, National Integrity Action. Trevor Monroe should have been here. He sends his apologies, PJ, Mr. Patterson. The PMI, and we've interacted with more than 20 community-based organizations in the Mountain View area. We've been working very closely with the churches, Operation Change Jamaica, Save Jamaica in Jamaica, the Anglican Church, and a number of local churches in the Mountain View area. We've interacted with a number of churches here, Father Ward, et cetera, and we are looking for that collaboration and partnership. We've worked with tertiary institutions, Excelsior College, especially because that's the community that they're connected to, UTech, UWI, and also government, very significantly, the Ministry of Education, all of these government agencies and their agencies. And importantly, I want to end on this note, that just before I came here, the Ministry of National Security said that they want to partner with the Lascaux Chin Foundation to spearhead this long-term intervention to address crime. Thank you all so much.
One more time for Professor Rosalea Hamilton. Did anybody get any kind of information, any kind of statistics that we never have before? Great, great statistics. I happen to have toured, I've toured some of the schools at feeder schools for Clancarty, the Franklin Town, Mountain View, Windward Road, you name it. Those are the areas that Lascochin Foundation is focusing on, and really, they need our help. I want to recognize Mr. Oliver Samuels in the house. See him there? Lord of mercy. Always drama. I want to recognize Miss Leslie and Samuel of Union of Jamaica Alumni Associations. They have 53 such alumni organizations in the Northeast. She traveled all the way from New York to be here with us this evening. Coalition of Jamaica Alumni Association, Dr. Rod, are you here? Dr. Rod? All the alumni associations who do such great work, and I'm telling you, passion for their schools. I'm telling you, give them a warm applause for me. I recognize Dr. Bruce Fletcher, who left Jamaica just to be here with us. Dr. Bruce Fletcher, are you here? Yes. Operation Save Jamaica. You know, there's a special lady in the house, and I want to spend a couple of seconds on her. I met her some years ago. She runs, she started and operated a school in Trenchtown, in our little backyard. Now the school is pretty big. How many students it had now? Leslie Ann? But we're so proud of Miss Lorna Stanley. I think she's retired now, but let me tell you something. That woman of heart, Lorna Stanley, Trenchtown, Operation, see her there? Me love her bad. Now she is moving, now she's moving from Trenchtown to Orokobesa with a school, and she asked me to, Orokobesa sent me here. Thank you very much. And we're going to go on to, right now, we're going to go on to a video presentation. Please follow this video for me, please. Thank you very much.